Hello everyone, welcome to the Build Up Show, Liverpool Arsenal Community Shield action. I'm Paul Machin, I'm joined by Ross Chanley, by Sam Walker and by Mr. Chris Pajak as well for this one. The Redmen boys on the wings. Right.
I'm Trent, you're Robbo.
Yeah, why not? Sounds, that's fine. I do like an iron brew. Yeah, somehow the footy's back. No, I know for people who were properly invested in the pre-season friendlies, like that will come as no surprise to them. We didn't really pay a great deal of attention to them this year deliberately, mainly because I couldn't fly over to America to watch them, so somehow I cared less.
It would have been pointless flying to America to watch them. Though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd have to get up at stupid o'clock in the morning for no reason to watch football matches. But yeah, no, it's back. I mean, what's interesting, it's less than 30 days since Arsenal played the FA Cup final, and here we are.
It's got to be a record, that, hasn't it? I mean, look, your Community Shield, everybody knows, don't they? It's crap. It's a pre-season friendly that you can win something for. It's a plate. It's
on par with the Western Union.
Yeah, but it's one of them. Like last season, you play it off. But in the build-up to it, I remember because I went back and read the match report. And I read a couple of bits from in the build-up to it, and it was very much whoever wins this is going to win the league. It wasn't. It actually doesn't make any difference to the season whatsoever. Obviously, both teams will want to go in there and start well, but ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, everybody knows this game doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I couldn't have phrased it really better. I mean, Sam, I've said it's the chance to win the first trophy / lose the first big 50p of the season. If you win it, it's sound. If you lose it, well, whatever. It's just a big shiny plate, isn't it?
Yeah, I must admit, with it being Arsenal, I kind of want to win it a bit more just because of the backlash if we do lose it and having to deal with the fallout of all the fans coming at me.
Aren't we fighting for a record here, though?
Yeah.
Like, we both have 15, don't we? Charity shields each. So
United have got 75,000, haven't they? So it says on Wikipedia. So we've got a long way to catch up on the shared trophies there, haven't we? But I agree. It's nice to win because I'm just counting up all these trophies for the parade. We've got the 3 from last year. This would be nice just to, give it to Adrian to hold.
Imagine the few when we start counting that with the European Cup from 2 years ago.
I don't need 4 medals. What would 5 be? I don't know.
I'd be getting all 6 out. Why not? Like, get that Cannon trophy out from fucking 86 as well. Like, and that random one that's behind you there that he gave in 90, the second league, the Barclays trophy. Yeah, bizarre. Again, I don't want to make light of it, but I will, because it deserves to be made light of, Ross. There's a reason. The reason it's not a major honour is because you used to be able to share it, and now that isn't the case anymore. It goes to penalties, as we saw, and obviously we lost it on pens.
But any self-respecting game of football would have extra time than pens.
Yeah.
This doesn't. This goes, everyone just wants this over and done with. Exactly. Can we just have the pens?
Yeah, exactly. They've tried to make it slightly more competitive. But look, it's called, it used to be called the Charity Shield. It's now called the Community Shield. It might as well be called the Pleasant Handshake Shield, really, if they really wanted to.
Or the Marketing Shield, because that's exactly what it is. It's a marketing
exercise. The Mackey's Marketing Shield.
Exactly, yeah. To get people pumped up. I'm the same as them. Like, if you win it, it's great. You won a trophy, it sets precedent for the season and what you can do. If you don't win it, it's sound. I imagine, because it's so different this season, we've had 2 pre-season friendlies. Arsenal have had 1. Jurgen will just use it as another pre-season friendly, and that's exactly what he'll do. Size people up, get fitness under the belts, and get them ready for in 2 weeks' time after the international break when football does actually come back.
Yeah, why is there an international
break? I fucking hate that,
Oh no, I know. It's ridiculous, isn't it? And again, but it's like with anything in this life, you go, "That's stupid. I don't like that. Why are they doing?" You go, "Yeah."
Is it the Nations League?
Yeah, which is
so we're going into competitive football at international level with no one playing competitive football.
Because
they're idiots.
That's a glorified friendly as well, isn't it?
Nations League.
Yeah, they used to be friendlies. They just changed it to a.
But it's not now.
It's not. Now you can get into the Euros.
Yeah, exactly. You've got that.
But if you win it, you still got to qualify for the Euros.
Oh, I mean, it's mad, isn't it?
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
No,
you don't get in it. Don't
get your place.
You still got to go through the qualifiers.
It's used as a backup if you don't qualify.
Sorry, yeah, you still qualify, but you still have to play football, don't you? You don't just go into a tournament without having played games.
It's fine.
Well, they did that for years with like the World Cup, and the hosts would always would suffer because they didn't have to go through the same levels of qualification or whatever. Anyway, I mean, this is how unimportant that we are talking about.
Don't even know the match.
Use this time to find out how the Nations League works.
Yeah, how does the Nations League work? I don't care in any way, shape or form. Yeah.
Next on the agenda is the UN.
Yeah. There is a little bit. I'd be interested to know how Arsenal are kind of framing this, and their fans are they'll be looking forward to it. I'm sure they will, because I think having won the FA Cup, Chris, they'll be buzzing. They'll be made up. They'll feel like they're right at the peak of their powers again, because let's be honest, they felt that for the final 6 years of Wenger, when they kept winning it and they thought it was good enough. But no, look, Arsenal are a dangerous team. We saw that post lockdown. I think we've got a much better chance of beating Arsenal this time if our world class players don't give them the ball quite so much. That might tip things in our favour.
I think, when you look at how Arsenal played against us back in the last season, they played that 3-4-3, didn't they? They'll probably line up in exactly the same way. You're probably looking at maybe Tierney as that left centre half again. Is it Sanyu who played the left wing back? And then you got Bellerin on the right wing back. The interesting things, the forwards, is that Eddie bloke or is it Lacazette? And then you've got Aubameyang and Willian will probably be starting on the right hand side maybe for them. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they line up. I think Arsenal fans will be interested to see how Willian sits into that side as well. Obviously they're paying him a lot of money. You're not going to see Arsenal play as well as they did against us last time, for the simple fact that they've got the new centre-half probably playing and Willian on the right-hand side as well. It'll be a little bit disjointed. I imagine Liverpool side might be closer to our normal first team, even with the injuries and stuff. So we should have the advantage there as well.
Saka played on Tuesday night when he played MK Dons, and Willian didn't play at all. So I wonder whether he'll start this game. I'd rather he didn't, because he loves a game against us, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I prefer he didn't.
Haven't they got two new centre-halves? Wasn't one loaned out last year as well? And he's come back and they've got big things for him as well. I'm sure they bought someone and loaned them out to France, so they probably might even have two new centre-halves.
Imagine if they had a centre-half, he was the answer
Murray,
to them.
is it? Murray, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was the answer and they'd loaned him out and they'd been putting up with all the god-awful centre-halves for all this time. It'd have been absolutely fine. I mean, look at Arsenal, Ross, it makes it... It's going to give it...
Is Mertesacker still there?
Probably, like, yeah, I think he's the corner flag now. But yeah, being Arsenal, and I think because we lost that game at the Emirates, for our players, I think it will give it just a little bit more spice. And I think it's been telling in pre-season that we've gone strong in the pre-season games. We've been using them as proper warm-up matches. They're not really pre-season games in the same way, because if it was pre-season, you'd be seeing mismatched sides all over the place, whereas it hasn't. Our first half sides have been strong, and we've rotated them kind of like we're going to do for the next, for the rest of the season. Really.
Yeah, we play Arsenal in a couple of weeks' time in the Premier League anyway, so it's good to get a psychological edge over in that sense as well. Liverpool, I watched the game on Tuesday night, weren't particularly good. You mentioned giving the ball away, but Cy Brundish put a tweet out and said, Liverpool played Saturday, did a double session on Sunday, double session on Monday, trained on Tuesday, then played the game on Tuesday night. So you see the games, you take one on the face fit of Fabinho making mistakes, and Gomez. And Salah's first touch was terrible as well, but you put that into perspective of the knackered, because we've been trained so much. Liverpool had a lot more time than Arsenal going into this game. Yeah. Therefore, and we're starting strongly as well, which you don't normally see. I think it was Lyon last season before Liverpool kicked off in pre-season at all, but they're still making mistakes. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I think our preparation is much more advanced than Arsenal's is.
Ross makes a good point there, and you'll know this from doing the book again this year, if you've gone even back into the pre-seasons and stuff. Every single time Liverpool have a poor result in pre-season, everyone forgets the fact that they have fucking training sessions on the day of the game, and that just doesn't happen normally.
No, it's true, and that's an important thing to remember. So it always fits whatever narrative you're looking for. I think people like to be miserable. I think they do. I think there's a certain character type that quite enjoys having things to complain about. We all do it to some extent, don't we? We've all got our things that we like to have a bit of a bitch about and whatever. But
UEFA Nations League.
Yeah, UEFA. But that's one thing to remember about the pre-season stuff. It doesn't matter. The fitness exercises, they should be getting played behind closed doors, not televised. Whereas that doesn't happen anymore. We get to see these things. I feel it's the first time I've not watched Liverpool pre-season games. Like I watched. I had one eye on the second half of the first game, which is dead annoying because it means I didn't get to see the big lads all playing in the first half, and I didn't watch the second game at all. I watched the highlights, saw Brewster score a couple of really good goals, was just made up. So, in the first game, you're seeing highlights of Minamino doing some good stuff and Curtis Jones and doing some good stuff. That's how you should be treating pre-season, and in that regard, yeah, the preparations, again, when stood side to side with Arsenal, we're probably in pretty good shape.
Yeah, and I think this year the difference probably between previous years, apart from the obvious, of course, is that usually against those Bury, Tranmere, etc. I can't even think Bradford we played in that charity game, didn't we, last year? It is a mixed match team. Then when we go on tours, when you start to see half and half with the half of the first team and then mixing, we've started with that against Stuttgart, the first half team, and then on Tuesday against Red Bull, we played 60 minutes with 6 or 7 of our stronger players. We only made a few subs at half time, and then the cavalry came on at the end. So we've sped up our planning, and that would happen usually over 3 or 4 weeks, wouldn't it? And then towards the back end of pre-season, you're getting 60 minutes out of Van Dijk and Mane and Salah, etc. Whereas it's happened over 2 games. One thing I will say about that game, though, is we should have scored about 7 goals. Salah was really off touch in the first half. It could have been 2-2. Yeah, it could have been 2-2. So the fact that we got the result in the end was probably more flattering for Red Bull in the end. But I think going into the Arsenal game, I think it'll be exactly the same. I think we'll probably get all of them play 60, 65 minutes, and maybe a couple of them might even play the 90, the ones who aren't going to go on international duty. So if Milner starts, he might actually play through just because he may be required to put 90 in against Leeds in a few weeks' time. And I also agree with you in the fact that we've got them in a few weeks' time, so it's a marker down. But we lost it last year. Yeah. And I think there will be a little bit of a kick to win that game.
I agree.
Because we lost it last year.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't matter. We can laugh it off. I'll celebrate it. It's Liverpool winning things. Like there's nothing embarrassing about winning things in any way, shape or form.
Especially when you deserve to be there.
Well, exactly, and that's the point. We said this last year, didn't we? We didn't qualify for the Community Shield last year. It was a bit of a joke because we could have won it. We should have won it, to be fair. But you're right. You know, we're the Premier League champions. This is what happens. We haven't been able to take this role. It's been 30 years since we've stepped into this game as the best team in this game in many respects. Countless times as the FA Cup holders, you know, and obviously random ways like last season coming second in the league or whatever. But no, I think you're right, Chris. I think there's a this season. I think I don't know how this motivation is going to stretch out beyond this season because it's not worth hypothesising past it really. But there's some unfinished business I think this year that says that for your likes of your Salahs and your Manes and your Firminos and who might be looking around at other clubs in a year and going, okay, well, can I go and do this? I don't, just to mix things up. Not having won the Community Shield will be a little one. Not having won the Premier League in front of our own fans, etc., and maybe again things like the European Cup. It starts here. I think there might be that little bit.
Yeah, I've heard loads of people talking over the last couple of weeks about complacency. It's not Liverpool fans, it's fans of other clubs. And I'm like, Liverpool haven't been at the top long enough to become complacent yet. And that all feeds into what you're saying there. Liverpool need to go and win trophies. You know, you want to add the league and the FA Cup because that's what City have been doing and they've done trebles. That's what we should be striving to. Yes, you did that last year. Well done. You're the best side in the country. Go and add another trophy to that as well. And that starts with the Community Shield on Saturday.
You don't open top bus the Community Shield on its own. You don't, but it's again from their mentality, and we'll find this out, Ross. And it's not. This isn't all on Liverpool. It's a lads playing against another set of lads who will have their own aspirations in this, which is something we get lost in sometimes as fans. But as a player, you'll just want to tick it off. They'll want it just to have it. You know, the elite footballers, elite sportsmen are greedy. And they'll want as many shiny things as possible. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see, the back end of last season. I think Liverpool kind of dropped a couple of percent, I don't think intentionally, but the league was done. Yeah. So this is actually the first competitive game where they can go up to actually go and win something. Yeah. Whereas Arsenal, on the flip side, you've already mentioned, the 1st of August, I think the final was, and they were playing every game hell for leather, trying to save themselves for further embarrassment in the league to finish 11th or whatever it was in the end. So, Liverpool were going into this game, you saw about mentality, I want to go out and win this. Whereas they haven't felt like that for 2-3 months because the league was done so early, so they never had to.
And there's a thing with Arsenal here, Sam, where they'll feel like they're ready to compete. I don't think they'll think they're competing for the league this season, but they might do. They're very optimistic about Arteta. They got that big result against us again at the Emirates before the season finished. They've won the FA Cup. They'll come in. They'll be going into this game thinking, go on, we'll give Liverpool a go. This is an opportunity. And it's not cast iron just because it's too early. It's just too early in the calendar, really, with all the fitness things and blah, blah, blah. But I think Liverpool will be... That was Klopp. If I really cared about this, I would have them in, like, the sensory overload chairs, making them watch the mistakes and that, and then showing the Man City lifting the plate last summer and just being like, do you want to feel like this again? Do you want to feel like this again? Do you want to feel like this? No. Well, there you go. Run out and go and sort it out, because that's That's probably not as dramatically as that, by the way.
Sounds like you need like Will Ferrell to be involved in this kind of fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But but there probably will be an element of that, though. You know, there's a little bit of truth in that. I think he will be saying, "Look what happened last year. Do you run? I will make you watch it. Yeah. I will make you watch Arsenal lift that trophy and us as runners up." So I think there will be an element of that. Looking at Arteta, I'll be honest. I think Arteta is probably the most capable manager Arsenal have had since 4 years before Wenger resigned, if that makes any sense. He was finished for a while. I actually look at Arsenal and I see progression. I see what they're trying to do. I see the way he's engaging with the players. I see the strong decisions he's made with Guendouzi and with Ozil. And I see the type of players he's bringing in. Like, let's be honest, we would have all took Willian. I think City would have took Willian as well, quite frankly. So I think the way they're going, he is a dangerous manager and he can pull off, a bit like Ollie last year managed to pull off one-off results for United earlier on in the season before they got a bit better.
I think about the early days of Klopp.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where we're at now. We've never been here before. Maybe you could argue we were there last season. But we came up through Klopp and it was like, drag the team down to your level and kill them there was Jurgen's thing, wasn't it? Whereas now we're the team at the top. We're the team that everyone's now trying to engineer wins against. And Arteta will absolutely live for that. He'll live for the opportunity to show how clever he is and showcase his tactical nous to try and find a way to get the best of them.
He's done it already. He's done it against us. He's done it against City. He's done it against Chelsea. You know, over the last 3 months, he's beaten in these
City.
three sides. Yeah. So, you know, he already knows how to do it. Now it's time for Liverpool to go, listen, lads. And this I think this is the most important part about this game for me, is that Liverpool now need to put that marker down and go, the back end of last season was because we'd won the league. You can't beat us. You just can't.
Yeah.
So get used to walking out to the field and thinking you're beat again, because that's the Liverpool that's going to turn up on the first day of the Premier League season.
That's the challenge for this Liverpool side, is to make sure that it's not just cockiness or arrogance, it's backed up by like a fierce determination to actually go and get the job done. You know, go and be more brutal, go and be more physical, go and show you superiority. All the complacency hopefully will
Bayern and Liverpool are the two best sides in world football because they try harder than everybody else and they've got the skill players. We need to get back to that.
Yeah. There'll also be Liverpool players in that side who we've sort of seen from pre-season, like Minamino, we've mentioned, or Ryan Brewster, you know, that is still in with a shout of, you know, putting the name forward for something for the season ahead. You know,
that match day squad,
Yeah, exactly. So, and Curtis Jones is probably another one. You know, we've seen him get a lot more game time in pre-season towards the back end of last season. They're going to put a marker down for themselves, you know, and push everybody else on, or Tsimikas even. You know, he's come in an expensive backup left back. He played all right in the two pre-season games, apart from Milner having a pop at him.
And do you know what? Like, we've said this loads of times in the past. To be a pro at a top club like Liverpool, United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, as a youth player, it's about moments, it's about chances, and there's gaps in our team at the moment with Trent Alexander-Arnold being injured. Look what Trent did to Klein, top quality fullback at the time. Trent come in, blew him out the water. Ox and Henderson are injured at the moment, and Origi's injured at the moment. Shaqiri's not in squad at the moment. There's an opportunity now for these young lads or these squad players to do what they've done. That's how it happens. Greenwood at United, Rashford, it happens when you get that moment and you snaffle that chance, and that's it. So this is their chance for Brewster or Jones to score 2 goals or be unbelievable second half, and that's it, you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to talk a little bit in a moment about the opportunities for the young lads who we're likely to see in this game. I'm drawing this out very, very slowly while Sai makes his way out of the room into the gallery again. We have got a 3-part documentary series live right now on the redmentv.com, looking back at the phenomenal season that was last year that led to number 19 and the end of the 30-year wait. All 3 episodes are available live now on demand on the redmentv.com. Here's a little sneak peek.
You see the looks on people's faces, just so much passion for the club.
There you go. Welcome back. Yes, if you want to get access to that 3-part documentary series, go to theredmentv.com and sign up. You get all 3 parts and you get access to a whole bank of additional amazing content covering every aspect of Liverpool Football Club throughout the week, throughout the season, forever and all time. There's a great back catalogue of interviews as well. We've got 2 Jurgen Klopp interviews there from last summer and the summer before, which I found really instructive when you talk about how the season's panned out as well. We're hoping we'll be able to get another one, which again will go on there as well. We've interviewed all kinds of loads of amazing stuff on there, so do dive into that and get that amazing series as well. Sam, I'll come back to you on it because I thought you were kind of leading into it quite nicely. There's a few of those players, isn't there, on the fringes here without Oxlade-Chamberlain, without Jordan Henderson, and even the likes of Matip maybe to some extent. There's a few of those, and Trent, actually we don't really know kind of what the situation is going to be with Trent moving forward, but yeah, there's a big opportunity, and not just necessarily in the starting 11, because I don't think there's too many opportunities to start this game. Nico Williams probably being the one, maybe Curtis Jones is an outside shout, but you can use 6 substitutes in this game, so there's going to be a chance for at least one of the young lads to put a marker down in this game at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know where Matip's up to. He's the one player we probably haven't discussed in terms of his recovery. So this is a massive opportunity, and we spoke about it on multiple shows already, haven't we? About Nat Phillips and about the why go and spend 20 million on a player who's arguably played the same level as him in White or anyone else across the league who's got minimal experience to come in as 4th choice. So Nat Phillips has got his opportunity there. So if he does get minutes at the back end of the game, it's his chance to say, I can mark Aubameyang, I can do a job, I can mark Pepe, whoever it is, I can fit in with this high line, I can communicate with Van Dijk and et al. But the big one for me is Jones, because of Oxlade-Chamberlain's absence. I think this is his chance, and I actually feel that if Jones turns it on first 3 or 4 games this season, Oxlade-Chamberlain could be in a bit of trouble, and he could find himself as like a wing back up this season, because Jones has got the sauce, as they say. So he has though, hasn't he? He's got the sauce. He's a baller. He's a player. He's really good. He's talented. Yeah. And just because of where Ox has been with his injuries and his place in the squad, I actually think he needs to come back hot, firing. Yeah. And as well, just your thoughts on this? If Brewster does the biz again, where does that leave him? Because there was more rumours yesterday about his loan.
There was Sheffield United seem to be the ones that are closest for Brewster. I kind of change it slightly because I know we were talking about the youngsters and stuff, and we can obviously come back to it. Naby Keita. Like, you know what I mean? That for me, when I look at it and go, who's got the best opportunity here? Naby Keita's got the best opportunity, because Wijnaldum wasn't exactly firing on all cylinders, although he's been integral to what we've done. Jordan's coming back in, so him and Wijnaldum are in a straight up fight for that second 8 position, and then it's your Curtis Jones and stuff like that. So I'll be looking at Naby going, and he scored the other week as well, didn't he? Against, was it Stuttgart he scored against? So we want to go in there, and he wants to put a marker down for the season. Go, when you come back in, Jordan, you're going to be alongside me, mate, not Genie.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Keita's an interesting discussion, isn't it, Ross? Because there's a temptation when we talk about football a lot to like try and make things black and white, to make it seem like one game can be important. But Naby Keita, it's not be all and end all, because it's a glorified friendly game. But in terms of giving him a springboard for the season, this is a big game for Naby Keita. We managed him very nicely, I thought, post-lockdown, during the restart. We were very careful with how we used him. We almost used that as a bit of a building up exercise for him. But he was involved in, I think he was involved in every game, which is his longest spell of being involved in games in 2 seasons. I'd expect him to have an impact in this match. But it would also be typical Naby if somehow he wasn't able to complete the game. So that's what I mean by it being important. It's a big game in so much as it's a big opponent on a good stage. Having had all that build up, it is important for Naby Keita this match.
Yeah, I think if lockdown benefits anyone, it was Naby, wasn't it? You talk about those injuries, putting them behind him, managing him, but also with the fact that he was our best player post lockdown. And he said, he played in every game. He was the best player in every game. So he's, it's not about his putting injuries behind him, it's about confidence as well. Yeah. Like, he's finding his place within this team, and knowing that he deserves that place is completely different. So he's also being pushed on by the likes of Wijnaldum and Curtis Jones as well. So he loves in.
Wijnaldum?
I don't know why I love that. I love that. That was a cheeky Wijnaldum.
Yeah, that's great.
But Curtis Jones, Naby Keita was seeing Curtis Jones going, like, he's getting game time, like, ahead of me. you know, in certain games, or, you know, he's supposed to replace Lallana in effect, but, you know, there's also the fact that Tsimikas has come in, Milner's then getting game time in midfield, which, you know, that's got to give someone's game time up, isn't it? So maybe Navigator's looking around and going, actually, there's more competition for my place. It's not just Jordan Henderson and Wijnaldum. It's, you know, it's 3, 4, 5 other players that are coming in for it.
Reference this all the time, and it's actually a very vague Star Trek reference, but it's about like how you can be stood still sometimes, you know, and if you're not progressing, all of a sudden there's youngsters who are going to come up and they'll match you because they've got the youth and the verve and all that kind of stuff. And if you don't grab your opportunity and run with it, then sometimes some lads can come on a straight run through. And I think that the Curtis Jones thing is interesting when you talk about going back to Oxlade-Chamberlain. Curtis Jones will be desperate for that. He'll be gagging for that opportunity. And yeah, it's not Ox's fault, because I think he was like, in terms of minutes, there's not many players who played more appearances, maybe more appearances than Oxlade-Chamberlain for his last season. But he was our
and he was
12th, 13th man, wasn't he?
He was 4th top goal scorer as well. I think anyway.
Yeah, sure. But he was that bits and pieces player. I don't think he needs to be that, because I don't think everyone looks back on last season, Chris, and goes, what a revelation Ox was. A bit of that recency bias at the first half of the season. I thought he was pretty good, but because he was used in that utility role, he didn't quite establish himself.
Flourish.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
Didn't flourish, and it must be incredibly difficult to flourish when you're moving right wing, left wing, centre midfield, whatever. So Ox has got a huge season ahead of him, but I think, again, going back to Naby in this game as well, and bringing it back to this game, the likelihood we're thinking probably Granit Xhaka and Lucas Torreira maybe that's a tough midfield, you know. It's a feisty little midfield too, and without Trent, because I don't think Trent's starting whatever, then, you know, people will start to talk about where's the creativity coming from this Liverpool side. Well, you got Robbo, you got Keita, and you probably got Mane on that left. Those three should be where the creativity is going to be coming from. So again, it's almost playing into Naby's hands. Go, here's the platform, go out and perform and show us.
Yeah, and again, the midfield in general, Ross, you know, if you've got, particularly with the 6 substitutes thing, we did this against City last year, we wasn't quite going our way, but then we blitzed the subs and we went full out attack, and we you know, again, it's a cliche, but if the game's 5 minutes longer, I think we probably win it on the day. But I can't see how it's not Fabinho, Keita, Wijnaldum who starts the midfield, but there's an option there, and you see what Curtis Jones has been doing in pre-season. It's similar to what Naby does. He's very keen to get up and support the attack. He doesn't mind getting to the edge of the 18-yard box. He actually doesn't mind getting in beyond if he thinks the opportunity is available to him. And again, someone like Gini Wijnaldum, you know, it's saying to him as well, well, I'm bringing one of you two off. It's probably about 60 odd minutes, one of Keita or Wijnaldum. Now, it should be Keita because it's always Keita. But there's an opportunity there for Curtis Jones, who's going to be literally stood there on the, you know, like popping a wheelie on the side of the pitch, desperate to get on. And yeah, that should be that benefits, I think, in both ways.
Unless Thiago starts, because that might happen. But I think what Chris was saying was right. You know, when you come up against that midfield and you don't have Trent, you need someone who's going to take risks. And I don't think you get that with Gini Wijnaldum. I think you get that with Naby Keita. We've seen that in pre-season already. And with Curtis Jones, you know, he's got that confidence to take risks, basically, and go past the man. If he loses the ball, then he's fine with it. You know, it doesn't get him down, he can go again. Instead of Naby Keita, that was a difference in some of the games. I think it was probably the Chelsea game that we played. You know, that's what he was doing. You know, Chelsea have got a really robust, you know, well-experienced midfield. Naby Keita was going, I'm not having that. I'm just going to go back. Well, he scored a screamer in that game, but he's integral to what we do. James Milner's another one for me. You know, I know you haven't watched most of the pre-season games, but he's made a massive difference. And, you know, it pains me to say this, but he's an injection of pace and authority in games from James Milner, which you don't expect. But every time he came on, he was the difference in both those games.
Tempo, isn't it?
It's the tempo, yeah, but also, and you can hear him every 2 minutes as well. Yeah. Like, I know he had a pop at Tsimikas, but then throughout the whole game, he covered every play of the grass in both games, and you're thinking, there's a 33-year-old that's setting precedent for what everyone should be doing.
He's a fella, James Milner, Chris, who has got nothing to lose this season. It's going to be his last season as a player at Liverpool, I reckon. You know, whether he ends up moving on and continues career, he probably should do if he's still as fit as he is. But he's not good. I don't think he's going to be used in quite the same utility role you'd hope, because of the likes of Tsimikas being in there. So he's going to get a finite number of opportunities. It's probably something like Klopp probably said, there's 15 starts here for you this season, you might get another.
But you have to get through each round, lad.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's got. I mean, look, he could potentially have 2 League Cup games in 8 days. You know, coming up as the season starts. But I think that's a good point. And I'm not sure that we necessarily will need him for this game. We might do, because without Jordan Henderson, it's
that's what I was going to say. It's the Jordan Henderson thing for me. And you look at it and you go, yeah, Van Dijk's a leader in the same way that Gerrard was a leader for Liverpool Football Club. And when you take Henderson out, I said that Liverpool aren't going to get complacent, but there is no chance of complacency ever creeping in when you've got someone like Jordan Henderson and therefore James Milner in there, making sure, almost driving the lads each and every second. He did it with Chimikas, as you mentioned, in a fucking pre-season friendly in the lad's debut. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's no love lost there. I'm going to go straight in at you. And it doesn't matter, because this is the standard that you are expected to play at Liverpool Football Club under Jurgen Klopp in this side. This is why we got here, and this is why we're going to stay at where we are. So yeah, absolutely. And the one other player that I want to talk about obviously is Nico Williams. Like Aubameyang, Nico Williams in a fucking Community Shield. What a fucking opportunity for him to go into this game and go, I can be Trent's understudy.
Well, he's been talking, hasn't he, Sam, about how he's up against Mane and Salah, and all, you know, in training every week. And if
that'll be gutting, wouldn't it? Yeah. You just go home going, I'm crap.
Confidence destroyed.
Can't make this, yeah.
But maybe it's like a Karate Kid training moment where actually you build the muscle memory up when you
on the side.
Yeah, he's
Aubameyang, come on, mate.
He's gonna crane kick the shit. Gonna crane kick Aubameyang. Yeah. Sweep the knee. He's gonna crane kick Aubameyang's head straight off his shoulders. Now, if he was, when you're up against those lads week in, week out, it's going to make you better, you know, without a shadow of a doubt. But also, I think we can see if he wasn't good enough, we wouldn't use him. Like, there's lads, we've let Adam Lewis go out on loan. The Rucci's looks like he wants to get off. So our other young options on the opposite side, we've gone, no, not for us. We'll go out and buy someone who can do that job. So, and look, and I'm saying this, we can see it. Nico Williams is a player. Whether he has a world-class game in this game is not important, really, to be honest, because I think he's going to have a good career either way. But I think Chris is right. It's a big opportunity for him. And
that will Milner starts right back.
After all
the talk.
Yeah.
He's I was just going to say, in the last game, he started off a bit rusty almost, which I always find bizarre. Football, because they play football all week, so how can you be rusty when you play a match? Just against different people. But he looked, that's obviously a consequence.
I mean, I start every game rusty, mate, so it doesn't baffle me. I'm like, I understand that.
To be fair, the resemblance of physique and age that's what that can do.
Yeah, you're right.
But he
Jack Alden over here, like fucking running down the wing.
So but all those training sessions, I didn't even think about that, and it makes sense now. He must have just been quite tired, all that work he's been doing. But I do think coming into this game, I don't think Klopp will have them running marathons before the match. I think it will be like a normal match day, sort of maybe train lightly in the morning or the night before and stay over and do the sort of full game preparation. And can I just add, this is going to be the last game before the season for us, isn't it? Because the international break, this is the last. Am I right in saying that?
It wouldn't shock me if
I think you are. There's no more pre-season friendlies.
It wouldn't shock me if they squeeze another pre-season game.
So into squad, something maybe.
Possibly, yeah. But in terms of full on, like a team that's going to compete against you and try and win the game full throttle. So I think the tactics in terms of the not just how we set up and put our first team out, but the subs as well as we talked before will be designed for that purpose. So we will try and be getting 90 minutes out of a lot of players. And I actually think Williams will play 90 minutes because he's going to be required possibly to play that first game of the season and play 90. The one thing about Arsenal that's slightly different though is when we played against them, Aubameyang wasn't playing, wasn't he, at their place at the end of the season, but it's the way they set up. It's actually not just Aubameyang on that inside channel. It's whoever plays left wing back for themselves. So he's going to have a tough job. He's going to have to be careful of Aubameyang making those clever runs inside, but also whoever plays left wing back, because it wasn't Tierney. Tierney played.
Saka. No, it's Saka.
It's Saka.
Tierney played left.
Saka's a good player. Yeah, so really good. So if he's got to deal with Saka and Aubameyang, this could be a real tough night, or could be the making of him.
He will be targeted, and what I will say is like he will make mistakes. He's a kid. I think he's fallen short of what Trent's done over the past couple of years, and set the bar of what a right back is at Liverpool Football Club. So everyone expects him to be that immediately. I think we forget, trying to introduce youth players into this Liverpool side because the standard is so high. Go back 3-4 years, Nico Williams will probably be sound, all right, probably get in there. But now it's so difficult. He's got to try and impress and do better than what Trent's doing. He's not going to. He can do that over a span of time. He can't do it right now because he's 19. But he also goes into this game full of confidence because I think he got called up for the Welsh national side for the friendlies, so like, you know, he's going to be buzzing his tits off thinking, oh yeah, I can do it.
Yeah, a couple of little defeats there away,
yeah, absolutely. We just do a couple more bits to wrap us up. Before we do, I just want to let everyone know a couple of things going on with YouTube right now. You can become a YouTube member, so if you're watching this, you can interact in the comments using our exclusive emojis, which are unlocked at any tier of a YouTube membership. But if you are a club captain or club legend tier, you get an additional show each and every week. During pre-season, that is the Reds Transfer Roundup show, just 60 minutes looking at all the Liverpool ins and outs, news and rumours. And when the season begins, it will be the midweek, the first of the week final word shows. There you go. Just about covered that right. It's been a while since I've had to talk about that. So yeah, you get one of the big review shows each and every week, again, from tier 2 and tier 3 members. And additionally, if you want Chris's t-shirt, Si, if you can just go on to a shot so we can see a little bit closer up of Mr. Chris Pajak.
There's my t-shirt.
There's the t-shirt. Where can they? You can buy one of the two of those things. In the shelf underneath the video.
You can buy both of them. One's a lot cheaper than the t-shirt.
For sale on the shelf underneath. Wow, there you go. You'll be keeping busy. You'll be able to, if you can see on YouTube right now, you can actually scroll just underneath the video. There's a shelf of Red Men merchandise, including the wonderful As You Wear range. There's a Trent one and there's a Jurgen one as well. So you can get that and have a little look around as well. So some absolute belter stuff, yes. Chris, look, fitness notwithstanding, and Williams being the obvious answer to this, do we know the starting 11 here?
I mean, I think so. I think you said the midfield three before. I think it's Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robertson. So, and you said Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Keita, and then the front three.
Yeah.
And obviously our goalkeeper.
Yeah.
That seems as simple as it is for me. They're pretty much what started. I mean, Keita started against Stuttgart, didn't he? But Keita started.
I'm not sure Trent will play. He's not had the pre-season under his belt.
No, he said
Trent.
didn't he?
Did I? I meant Williams.
Yeah. He said Trent.
Did I? Williams.
Oh no, the comments.
I knew what you meant, Chris.
You make mistakes, we're all human.
John Alden.
I mean, there's it was Trent. There you go. It was
John Alden.
It was Curtis Jones that started the first game, but it was Genie that started the second one. Is that right? So I think Wijnaldum's an obvious shot, but it wouldn't be shocking if Curtis started this one, Ross.
No, I think he deserved to. I think, we're talking about getting players ready and set up for Premier League football. I think he's probably one of those ones that could do an extra hour under his belt. And probably, we're talking about confidence in these players as well. If Jurgen Klopp picks you for a Community Shield, we joke about is a bit shit. If you're a footballer, you want to play in these games, don't you? You want to lift that trophy. You want to contribute to Liverpool winning a trophy. One
little note on this, and I remember the conversation we had doing one of the fan zone conversations, which is coming back this Saturday, by the way. I'll plug that right at the end. But there was a game. What was the post-lockdown game where we played Nico and was it Villa when we played Nico and Curtis, or Burnley was it when we played them both in the same time? And you're like, we wouldn't do that because it'll
never do that.
And they were great down that side. That's one other little option there, isn't it, Chris? Again, I'm not saying that, I don't think it will. I think Genie and Keita will get the nod, but there is actually a reasonable shout. If you're looking at patterns of play and you're looking at players who've got an understanding together, actually Curtis and Nico on that right-hand side could be a useful thing.
It could be, yeah. I'm reticent this time to say it's never going to happen. So I'm just going to let that lie and say, listen, it absolutely could happen. It's never going to happen, but it could happen.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Can I just add as well, though, Brewster saved us from embarrassment the other day.
Yep.
Like, we haven't had one shout about him starting.
I don't think there's any chance he starts because of... But we've got 6 substitutes, and I want to get, if anyone's got any names they want to throw into the hat on this, but Brewster's the one out of all of them I most want to see. Well, even Curtis, to be honest.
Yeah.
Curtis, because I don't think Curtis is going anywhere, but Brewster. And I'm not saying, I don't think Liverpool's decision on him will be hinged on the Community Shield. I think if the
decision's already been made.
Yeah.
If he comes on and scores 2 against Arsenal after those 2, surely like what more can you do when Origi's got 5 and 38 or whatever last year?
It was telling the way the Klopp talked about him, and he said he's a goal scorer in the box.
But that's it, goal scorer. Wijnaldum said the same. His finishing's great. It's what they're not saying there for me.
Exactly.
That's what I'm looking at. Going, why aren't they saying he's a great forward? He understands how we play the system. They're talking about his finishing, and that's it's not a concern because finishing's what you need to be a striker. Look at Mason Greenwood. He's a fucking finisher, isn't he? You know what I mean?
But you can't go on loan and gain Liverpool's way of playing.
It's true.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you've got all the assets to be a top quality player, and unless you learn how to play our way, you're not going to be able to apply that to our system.
It's what's right for him at this point of his career. Is it first team football for somebody, or is it sitting and learning the system and not playing competitive football? And that's the question the Klopp's probably asking.
It's what's right for Liverpool at this moment as well. You know, you mentioned Divock Origi, you know, you've got Shaqiri, potentially Chamberlain up there as well as the front three. You know, you probably
seen two of them though.
Yeah, and Minamino, but there's too much competition for places. Like, I keep Brewster. I think he's phenomenal, but you know, you can't sell an Origi this summer because pandemic.
Yeah, I just
you know,
the Origi thing is that Origi can play Origi across the front three. I don't think you can with Brewster. Or maybe you can, but we certainly don't see it when he plays. He plays centre forward, and look, he scores goals. There's absolutely no doubt to that. But that's at the moment. Whether he's a better finisher or not than Origi, and look at that, Divock Origi.
He's probably a better finisher than Bobby, by the way.
Yeah,
Bobby's not there to finish goals. That's what we want from our number 9.
Divock Origi is a finisher. Divock Origi, you put him in the box, he'll score goals for you. He does. He has done his whole career. He doesn't score them in volume, but he also doesn't play in volume for us. You know, that's different. Divock Origi is he used to always do it. He'd score 5 and 6. He'd be crap for all of those games, but he'd score 5.
And the one he plays well in, he wouldn't score.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the other one.
Yeah, that's it. So, but that's where Bruce is maybe, and you're right, because I agree on that. I think that it's what they're not reading between the lines. It's almost like saying, we like Brewster, we think he's great, but he doesn't do enough of the bits and pieces. And look, we forget this, Minamino. He's at the moment he will have to be above the pecking order because we've bought him. He needs to get better, and he's a senior age player. We've also not seen anything like the best of him, but also he's a lad who can play in multiple positions. Klopp likes that. That being said, I think we'd all like to see Brewster involved in this.
Absolutely.
In this game.
I look at it and go, all right, yeah, it's all well and good saying you can play across the front three, but if Bobby goes down, who's playing number 9?
Yeah. Well, and the fact we're playing because the thing is, this season, the reason why I think he should stay more than anything is because I think he's a far bigger ceiling than the 3 I mentioned. Even Minamino, I haven't seen anything yet to prove me otherwise, so I'm going on what I've seen. And we've got a game twice a week till Christmas. Yeah. And I think we will get through the first 2 rounds of the League Cup because we've got a decent squad this season. So I think we're going to be playing twice a week till Christmas. So surely there's the opportunity there.
That's it for me. I mean, the problem with the League Cup is you've got the 2 games in September, and then it doesn't come back until like December. So there's maybe just an option there where I wouldn't be letting Brewster go until the last day of the window if I'm doing anything. I would be using this spell and say, because again, you don't know. It would be insane to let someone of that talent. I mean, maybe not. Maybe I'm over-egging it, but it's TV. Let's go, man. There's no need for us to let him go unless there's someone says, look, he could really do with getting bedded into his new side, or maybe that might impact you might lose or shorten, you close your window of who you can loan him out to.
I mean the Premier League thing, that the rule there is it has to go full season, no recourse still, isn't it? That's and yet that's really annoying because you want him to go to a Premier League side, but you don't want to have to lose him for the entire season should anything major happen. But it's not worth sending him to. Can you recall from a Championship loan or an abroad loan?
I think we did with Jordan Ibe years ago. I was corrected on Twitter the other day.
Nat Phillips last year. So you'd want him to go somewhere, but he's not getting the experience that you need, which is Premier League football, unfortunately.
It's regular football for him as well. When he was at Swansea, his goal return was phenomenal, but he was playing every week. And that's a downside to Divock Origi, like you mentioned there, playing, I don't know, half an hour in 4 games. Like he's getting rid of.
And he's able, when he goes to Swansea, that was the manager who won. He went the World Cup with in the under-17s, wasn't it? So there's a manager who already knows how Bruce can play. So when you take him for half a season, he doesn't have to learn the system. The system can't, like the manager has a way of playing, and Brewster already fit that. And he can hit the ground running.
He's there at Swansea alongside Ayew, who's quite a senior figure at that point.
Well, best in the Championship as well.
Yeah, and that's what's the one thing about Liverpool is that we're not going to accede to the needs of Brewster particularly. That's why Origi doesn't fit, because look, Barcelona always gets referenced. Champions League, we had the option there to change the system to make Origi fit because we had no choice but to do otherwise. We had this with Sturridge and Origi, Klopp's first season, when we put Sturridge and Origi in front of West Ham away because we've got nothing else. We can do nothing. Mane's out for that, so we go. We change the system.
Anyway, when
Brewster will be great. If Liverpool change the way so they've got a spearhead centre forward.
Yeah, absolutely. When Firmino drops into the 10, Brewster's there, you know what I mean?
No, but if you told...
it's all about.
If you told Mane,
Thiago,
Salah...
Fabinho in the centre, Firmino in the 10, Brewster in the fucking...
Yeah. But if you told Mane, Salah to play like wingers or to play like creative forwards, like they have the ability to do, and Brewster's leading the line, Brewster would score 30 goals this season, but the others wouldn't score, and it would be to the detriment. I hope I'm completely wrong, and I agree. I think there's more value. I think there's more value to keeping him around because I think he'll get games. I just think he will. My sneaky feeling with Origi is that non-global pandemic, I think he goes in the summer. Yeah. I think he'd have moved on. I think he would have got a good wedge for him. So I think that's probably the only factor. I don't think Bruce. I think that might be why Brewster moves on. The same way that Mel Reddy's talking about Thiago's not going to come in because there's just too many. We've got too many midfielders at the minute, which sounds insane again because he's better than all of them, and Brewster's probably better than a lot of. He's probably you score more goals than Shaqiri and Origi if you get to those games, but you still own those lads, and you've got to squad harmony.
Does Shaqiri still play for Liverpool? Ask him for a friend here.
Honestly, don't know. Genuinely.
That's what I mean. Like this is what I can't get my head around. But I say, the club knows.
But while they own him, it's just a thing, isn't it? You've got lads who are there. You've got wages to consider. You've got all these things. Yeah. It's a mad world. I hope Brewster does get his chance. I think this is the perfect opportunity for him. To be perfectly honest, I think you bring Brewster on with 20 minutes to go in this game, regardless of how it's going. Hey, if we need a goal, great. No, but again, you say about players are forged in moments like this, and I'm not, as we said, the decision is probably made. But there might be factors, like I say, someone coming in with a 25 million, 30 million bid for Divock Origi, or someone coming in with 15 for Shaqiri, might alter that thinking. And in addition to it, if Brewster happens to be as prepared for it as possible, hey, listen, 2 goals in a charity shield game, say, might just make a better club go.
It's about 5 and 3 for a start for pre-season games, doesn't it? And then I like the idea what you're saying is wait until the last minute on this. If there's 7 or 8 clubs, they're still going to be looking. Yeah. And you can have a look at how the players react to the start of the season. You can see what your fitness levels are like, and you can make a much safer call then as to whether he's going to go out for the rest of the season.
Have him spearhead James Milner's tricky Carabao Cup Reds. Win. That's the way to be.
I think Shaqiri's probably the reason why I say keep him, because I think you can't rely on him. Which he's a fantastic footballer, and I wish he was available when he's not available for pre-season, when he's hardly played for 2, 3, 4 months. I know you were tweeting about it the other day, but I'd love Shaqiri to be on the bench or come and make more appearances, or games where he plays 2 minutes, or was a game last season where he came on and the whistle went. Like, he's either fit and doesn't get his chance.
I think he brought the whistle to the ref.
He gets his game time limited, which isn't necessarily his fault, but then there's games where you think he's nailed down for this game, he's not available, and it's a cause of concern when you said going and playing 2 games every week, not having him there. Like, you need someone who's not a kid, who's never played for us before. Bringing Bruce into those scenarios, for me, makes us progress in those cup games.
And I think the transfer market's probably about to explode, so we'll find out if someone's got the money for Origi, Shaqiri et al.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's about to go.
Sounds Chelsea.
On that.
Yeah, thanks Chelsea.
That's the difference, isn't it?
Swap you for Kai.
We're back to that. We're back to that world again, aren't we? Where the season will start and clubs will get a feel for it, and someone will go down injured. Someone half decent clubs will lose a main man, and all of a sudden there will be a clamouring, looking round for someone to come in.
Merry-go-round starts.
Look at Aston Villa did they lose McGinn for a while, and so Danny Drinkwater, they bring in, don't they?
Worked for them, didn't it?
Well, yeah, but whether it works is the mentality is like, we've lost the senior man. What do we do? Well, are we going to rely on a child, or are we going to go and are we going to spin, roll the dice and try and get someone?
What you're saying is kick a Aubameyang and just push Shaqiri to towards Arteta and go, oh, here he is.
Yeah, just go home with them.
See the size of his calves, Mikel.
Go and have a squeeze of them. Go out and kick on the tyres on the second-hand car.
You've got to do that. I don't know why I do it. No. I don't know really what I'm checking for, but I know that everyone does it, so I'll go around and kick all 4 tyres.
Yeah, definitely. Shaqiri, has there ever been a more Newcastle United player than Shaqiri?
Yeah. Harry Wilson?
Ooh. I think he's too good. He's too young. He's not injury prone enough to be a Newcastle United player. Right, we're going.
Andy Carroll was the answer there. He's the one who was more Newcastle.
Maybe you're right. But yeah, like that overpaid international class known as being a bit of a dickhead, injury prone, but loads of skill when he's fit. Yeah,
what happened to Newcastle? Because they used to have like a Springer. It was just incredible. Like, do you remember that goal he scored with the outside of the boot against us and stuff like that? And then somehow they've changed.
Yeah,
just 30 years ago. That's why.
Relegated, Chris. They kept getting relegated. No one wants to play for them anymore. Yeah.
And Philippe Albert come back from his veg stall in Belgium to fucking save them.
I'd have that Maximan though. He's good.
Yeah, he's decent. Okay, right. Yes. In fact, any more shouts of anyone you particularly want to see go off the bench in this one? A bit soon for Harvey.
Yeah, again jumping off the bench as we put our fifth in.
Yeah, go ahead. So.
The left back, I suppose, gets on. Maybe that's it.
Shimikas, yeah, no, it'll be interesting. Yeah, that's
Harris? No, okay.
Doesn't have a future at Liverpool. We talked about that actually on the Reds Transfer Roundup show this week. We had a good discussion about the goalkeeper situation for Liverpool. If you are a member, a club captain or club legend level, you can watch that show right now.
Spoilers? Any spoilers on the Carriers? Can you let them know roughly where you decide?
Steve Paul didn't argue for the first time.
Okay, right. That show has been built for 3 years on me and Steve arguing about Loris Karius, and it was the first time we were like, I was like, I think he's all right, but I can't be arsed with him, and he was like, good. So I'm like, yeah, there we go, brilliant, good show. But yeah, that's available for you. Yeah, that's available for you now. Yes, other than that, we will be back 45 minutes, half an hour before kickoff for the fan zone watch along. We're going to be doing commentary. We're going to be getting involved with you guys. We're going to be playing Liverpool songs and having a good laugh as Liverpool hopefully lift that big 50p. Yeah, that will be live on the channel on Saturday, right? It's Saturday. Saturday afternoon from probably around 4 p.m. So yeah, come and tune in for all that. As mentioned as well, yeah, do become a Redmen member. Have a look at our merch in the little shelf underneath Chris's slave to make that a reality.
I hope it's still there.
Yeah, so just go and have a look. Just go and have a look for Chris's sake. Just have a little look around and see what we've got there. And yes, if you want the 3-part documentary series that we've done, it is phenomenal size. Absolutely smashed that out the park. Yeah, you can get that as on demand now. All 3 episodes live on the redmentv.com. Gentlemen, score predictions before we wrap it up.
2-1 Liverpool.
3-1.
4-3.
Oh, go ahead. 2-1 to Liverpool. Take a bit of that. Yes, score predictions. Anything you want in the comments below?
Actually, no. We're going to win on pens this year.
Okay, wicked. Chris is going to be doing the starting 11 prediction live on the channel as well a bit later today, so stay tuned for all of that.
I'm going to have to think of something different to say. This time I won't say 10. How's that?
There you go. Right, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you all very soon. Ta-ra.